On today's episode of Uncut Gems with Slim.
The world is full of opinionated people. Opinions aren't fact. You can't put yourself out there and then rely on the world's opinions of you to validate the facts about yourself. You are valid just the way you are. You don't have to change the way that you look. You don't have to change the way that you talk. You don't have to change different facts about who you are to appease other people's opinions. And that's on period. Hey guys, welcome back for another episode of Uncut Gems with Slim. Today we are continuing season 1 real life goals with episode 6, and today's episode is called Valid, No Blue Check, #verified. So I hope you guys enjoyed last week's episode. We talked about how we shouldn't limit our expectations because that leads to limited results. So make sure you guys are walking in expectation. And as we move forward into today's episode, I'm going to tell you why you are valid. You are valid like salad. You are legit, and your validation comes from God. Your validation comes from knowing who you are and whose you are. And with that being said, a lot of times I come to realize I've been very vigilant lately. The blurred, I can see clearly now. The rain is gone. Like, I can really see when people seek validation through an outward thing or through other people. And so a lot of times I feel like people seek validation from titles, from other people, and just a lot of different things, whether that be like, you might know someone who seeks validation in their title, like they correct you when you say their title wrong, or if you approach them and you're like, oh, this is so-and-so's assistant, and they're like, no, I'm the assistant director of blah, 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 blah. And like, there's quick to like, make sure you know their title. Like, they push so hard after a specific goal or something because they find validation in having that title or achieving that goal. And often people also seek validation through others. So like when posting on social media, like if you don't get a certain amount of likes or a certain amount of comments, and like it in turn makes you feel a type of way, you might be seeking validation from those people in your timeline rather than knowing like, okay, I think I look good in that picture, so I'm gonna post it. I don't care who else likes it. And oftentimes we don't even realize that when we seek that outward validation, sometimes there's an identity crisis at hand. Like, you are seeking that validation, you're seeking your identity from an outward source. And if you find yourself doing things to only please other people, or you're chasing after titles and positions because of how people will treat you in those positions, then you might be seeking outward validation. And regardless of your status, regardless of your following, regardless of what people think of you, you are valid. Like, regardless, if no one listened to this podcast today, I know that I put my foot in it and I gave you guys all that I got, and I'm proud of the content that I'm putting out for you guys because I am valid. And I don't need views or praises in the comments to solidify my validity. Period. Come on, grammar. And so in order to know and understand that you are valid, you must know who you are. And I encourage you guys all, if you have not watched the Selfology series on my channel that kicked off at the top of the year 2021 in January, y'all, please go watch it because your self-discovery journey is so important. And when you discover yourself and you start growing in your self-confidence and things like that, you know that you are valid. Point blank, period. You know that you are valid, and you know that because you know who you are, you know whose you are. And so this comes through your journey of self-discovery, self-love, through your identity in Christ.
Real quick, I just wanted to take a moment and pause and ask, are you subscribed? Make sure you subscribe to us on all podcast streaming platforms and check out the visual on YouTube at Uncut Gems with Slim. Lastly, don't forget we are also on Instagram. Follow us on Insta to get motivational snippets, episode highlights, and so much more. Now, let's get back to today's episode.
And so I really just wanted to use today's episode to bring awareness to who you are and bring awareness to yourself to realize that you are that girl, you are that guy. A lot of times we experience self-doubt or discouragement, and we feel like, we need other people to confirm the greatness that's already in us, when in actuality, you get that from knowing who you are. You get that from your identity in Christ. The world is full of opinionated people, and all opinions are not fact. Opinions aren't facts. And so you can't put yourself out there and then rely on the world's opinions of you to validate the facts about yourself. Like, there are facts about me. Just because someone else thinks my tutorials might be long-winded, that doesn't mean that I need to automatically be like, oh my gosh, I need to change what I'm doing because someone else's opinion says that I'm not doing it right. That's not true. If you know who I know who I am. I know the content that I create. I create content for beginners, for people who are interested in just learning more, whether it be about makeup, whether it be about content creation. And so I'm going to take my time and explain the things that I'm sharing with you guys. But in addition to that, if you know anything about me, if you're listening to this podcast, you know that I suck at paraphrasing. I suck at summarizing. And that is a fact. That is a part of me. That is who I am. I ain't gonna be able to keep it short, sweet, and cute to the point for nothing. If I'm telling a story, I'm gonna tell you all the parts except for the important parts. I'm gonna elaborate, give you all the details that don't got nothing to do with the punchline. That is just me, and I know that. So I don't take offense when I get comments that are like, oh, she talked too much, or this, that, and the third. I don't let that invalidate me, because I know that that's who I am, and I'm okay with that. I love the person that I am. I love the woman that I'm becoming, and I want to encourage you guys all to build that confidence and understand the different things about you that make you unique, and stand in it, be strong in it, appreciate it, and know that you are valid just the way you are. You don't have to change the way that you look. You don't have to change the way that you talk. You don't have to change different facts about who you are to appease other people's opinions. And that's on period. Today's episode is going to be a little bit shorter just because for me, this is a very straight to the point concept. You are valid. Period. That's the sentence. You are valid. And so before we wrapped up, I was looking online for inspo for today's episode, and I found this online blog called truthfullymichelle.com, and it shared a perspective that we can rest in full comfort knowing that we are created in his image. And that's from Genesis 1:27. And then the sentence continues and says, we're fearfully and wonderfully made, pulling from Psalm 139:14. And you are loved beyond measure, which is pulled from Ephesians 3:16 through 21. And that is so true. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. Like, you were brought into existence, created perfectly by God. And you are loved by him. You are loved. I want to let you know you are loved, and you are created in his image. You have to rest in comfort in knowing who you are, knowing whose you are, and know that you are valid simply by that. So you don't have to worry. You don't have to doubt that you are greatness. You don't have to doubt that you're great, because you already are. That's all I got, y'all. I hope this episode was just a little nugget episode that kind of satisfied your little snack hunger. But you don't need a blue check to be verified. You are valid like salad, just on your own. Y'all remember that song, Valid Like Salad? Valid like salad, valid like salad, valid like salad, valid like salad. Anyway, you do not have to have a blue check to be verified and considered valid. Your validation comes from within. Don't let anyone deter you from knowing who you are and whose you are. Stand firm in your self-confidence, self-love, and self-awareness. Because if you're self-aware, Baby, you already know that you are valid. You are top tier. You are that boy. You are that girl. So keep continuing to live in that truth. I love you guys so very much. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure y'all stay tuned next week. Next week, we are talking about health is wealth, because we gotta, make sure we achieving these real life goals, honey, okay? Make sure y'all follow us on podcast streaming platforms, also here on YouTube as well as Instagram. Make sure you check out our Instagram at Uncut Gems with Slim, because y'all, we bring free game every Friday. That's free game for me, putting you up on game for like content creators, anyone who wants advice on how to do different things, whether that be product recommendations, whether it be how to edit on your phone, all those different things. So make sure you tune in on Instagram, follow us there so you don't miss any tips and tricks. I love y'all so very much. Thank you for tuning in, and until next week.